Hello everyone, my name is Wim van Kouwenbergen and I'm happy to welcome you together with Mr. Mark Haarman for this webinar on the More for Sustainability project. Welcome, Mark.
Welcome, Wim. Thank you so much.
Yes, so Mark, you're the founder and the managing partner of Mainnovation. Maybe you can just briefly explain which kind of company Mainnovation is.
Well, Mainnovation is a company specialized in maintenance and asset management consultancy. We support asset-intensive companies in optimizing their processes, organizations, and their asset performance.
Yes, okay. And so together with BEMAS, and together with three more other partners, NVDO, the FVE, and EMC2, we have set up an Interreg project, which is called More for Sustainability. So this was done in the framework of the call for a green, smart, and just transition, on which Interreg Northwest Europe is focusing on. And so the program funds, in fact, initiatives that really aim for a climate neutral, resource efficient, and sustainable society. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
Totally true.
Yes, but the idea of today is that we explain a little bit what this project is about and how companies can really participate and reap the benefits of participating in the project. So here we see already the agenda, but I give the presenter role to you, Mark, so that you can explain us all about the More for Sustainability project. People watching live can ask questions in the chat. We will treat those after the presentation. So please, Mark, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Wim, for this kind introduction. If I am the presenter, yes, I am. So we go to the first slide. Here we are, setting the scene. Well, I don't think I need to convince the audience that sustainability is an important topic at the moment. Since the EU Green Deal in 2019, only 5 years ago, sustainability has become an important topic in Europe. I think the entire planet, but especially in Northwestern Europe, which is a region that is very industry intense. And in this EU Green Deal, we are aiming to reduce the CO2 emission with 55% in 2030, but also to improve the energy efficiency with 32.5%. And we must be aware that, and the facts are proving that, the facts and figures, that the industry is the largest consumer of fossil energy, and by this shows a high potential for improvement. And what I see in the market is that more and more companies are applying sustainable asset management to help the companies with improving their sustainability performance. The question, however, is what is sustainable asset management? Is there a framework? Is there a methodology that really tells us what it's all about? And that is mainly the reason why we started up this project, is to really understand what is sustainable asset management and to create awareness around this subject. And so the main objective of this project is to create awareness, to tell the maintenance communities about sustainable asset management, about what it is, why we need to do it, but also how you can apply it, and build capabilities. So it means that we're going to educate, we're going to train the maintenance communities in applying sustainable asset management. To understand what it is, we first carry out a benchmark survey. And I will go into more detail later in this presentation how the benchmark will work. But based on the insights of this benchmark survey, we're going to create the so-called roadmap for sustainable asset management, a document, a report that will help companies to implement sustainable asset management step by step. And this roadmap will contain various best practices that we will collect during the benchmark survey. And it will also contain a self-assessment tool, so where you can measure where am I today, where do I need to go tomorrow, and what are the steps in between. And also a business case tool, because although sustainability is very important, we still need to convince top management about why we should do this, and we need a business case for that. And finally, this roadmap and the self-assessment tool will be trained through an online and offline training program. So if you look at this project, what are the steps? The first step is the project startup, finished last month. And what do you do in a project startup? You set up your project organization, you make a detailed project plan. But in this case, it was very important. We're going to validate the sustainability, the sustainable asset management framework. And this is a very important task in this project. And because it will guide the entire program. And I will share the outcome of this sustainable asset management framework later in this presentation. And based on this framework, we're going to start with the benchmark. It will be an online benchmark survey. And we're going to collect data of various asset owners about sustainability, about CO2 reduction, about energy efficiency, but also about their maintenance performance. We're going to analyze that. And based on those insights, we're going to report the roadmap for sustainable asset management. This will be a publication, probably somewhere in September. We're going to launch this publication to create awareness, to show what the market is currently doing, what they need to do in the next couple of years, and also how they can do it. And then after the roadmap has been released, we're going to continue with preparing the training program. And because that is a very important aspect of this program, Interreg, which is a more or less a operational unit of the EU, doesn't want to see only, let's say, market research reports, but also implementation. So we need to train the maintenance community about sustainable asset management, online and offline, which then will be done in the last part of this project, which will be somewhere beginning of next year. So if you look at the dates, we started beginning of this year. In March, we started the benchmark survey. That's the reason why we have this webinar today. And July, we're going to start with the roadmap. October, start with preparation of the training. And Q1 next year will be dedicated on really giving the training in the various maintenance communities. What are the different maintenance communities? So if you look at the scope of this project, we're focusing on 4 countries: the Netherlands, Belgium, France, and Germany. And the survey, the benchmark survey, aims to collect 200 companies, data of 200 companies in the manufacturing industry. So we tightened the scope towards only the manufacturing industry. And here you see the different NACE codes of the manufacturing industries. So everything that has to do with a factory, a plant, can join the benchmark survey. In total, we aim at 200 companies. It's the same number as we've reached in our previous study, More for Core, executed in 2014, 2015. And so we think that is feasible to aim for that number. So what does it mean, the benchmark? So the purpose of this benchmark study is to really understand what is sustainable asset management and which of the elements of the sustainable asset management framework that we've already prepared are best implemented and have the most impact on energy efficiency and CO2 reduction. It will be done online, 200 plus companies in 4 countries. And to give something back to the participants, we will give them a personalized benchmark report. And what we also will do is that we're going to analyze all the data that from the benchmark survey, and we will identify the front runners in sustainable asset management, and 2 per country. And we were going to visit those 2 companies to further analyze in more detail, to really understand how they have implemented sustainable asset management and learn from their best practices. This framework is very important for the benchmark survey, and we have installed an expert board with thought leaders from the academic and science world, people that are working in either asset management and or sustainability, 1 expert from each country. And with those 4 experts, and together with the core team of the project, we have developed the framework. And that's what I'm going to explain to you now in step by step. So the More for Sustainability framework starts with the strategic level. And we put the strategic level in the middle. So what you need to do is to create a sustainable asset management strategy, set up your KPIs, set your targets, make plans how to achieve those targets, align your organization to be able to achieve the plans. And so this is the first thing that you need to have in place: a strategy and an organization that focuses on sustainability. Then we go into the tactical layer of this model. And the first element of that is to optimize your asset portfolio. That's the first step. An asset portfolio optimization is about getting the right assets in that helps you to achieve your sustainability target. The second step is to make sure that if you have the right assets in place, to optimize their asset health, because we've learned from practice, but also from various studies, that a healthy asset is much better in sustainability performance than an unhealthy asset. And if you have the right assets and you optimize their asset health, the next step is to see if you can further optimize the energy consumption by applying various best practices. And the last step is then to optimize the emission of the assets, the greenhouse gas emissions. And under each of these 4 quadrants, there are various best practices. So we see here under asset portfolio optimization, you see here best practices like plant electrification, a well-known practice in many companies that are trying to improve the sustainability performance by electrifying all the engines or heating assets to electrify them. Another best practice is sustainable asset replacement. So if you replace assets like bringing in high efficiency HVAC or high efficiency motors in your plant, or implement LED lighting or even smart LED lighting. So really replacing assets by sustainable assets. And in fact, you can even make the most fundamental change by totally re-engineer your production process. The famous case of Tata Steel in the Netherlands, where they are replacing an old steel factory by a new steel factory that is running on hydrogen. So this is what we mean with asset portfolio optimization. And in the survey, we're going to measure which of those best practices are implemented and which of those had the most impact on sustainability, on energy efficiency and CO2 reduction. Same on the top, asset health optimization. There the best practices are high precision maintenance, and high precision maintenance is not the same as preventive maintenance. It's a new methodology that it takes care of maintenance at the highest level of accuracy. So instead of only looking if the asset is at the right condition, you also look at the alignment, the alignment and the balancing of the assets. So it really is high precision, it's high accuracy to make sure that the machine operates in its specs. So because we all know that if machines are not balanced or aligned correctly, they use much more energy and they create much more greenhouse gas emission. So this means that high precision maintenance prevents for happening that. Second one is predictive maintenance. I think we all know predictive maintenance using condition data, but also weather data, production forecasts, and other external factors that can influence the behavior of the asset. But normally, I think if we talk about predictive maintenance, we think about how can we prevent unplanned downtime. But I think a famous case from SciTech Asset Health Center on the Camelot site in the south of the Netherlands showed that it doesn't only help to prevent unplanned downtime, it also helped to reduce your energy consumption. Because you better understand, by applying predictive maintenance, you better understand the behavior of your assets, and then you can optimize it. And the third one is called asset energy care. And asset energy care is about taking care of the asset. It looks a bit like operator asset care, and it focuses primarily on cleaning, on filter replacement, on lubrication, all with the focus on energy efficiency. So if you've implemented that, you can then further optimize your energy consumption with those three best practices. Thermal energy loss prevention is all about isolation. Thermal energy recovery and reuse is to recover waste heat that can be reduced in other parts of the plant. And the last one is a bit more complicated, electrical energy optimization. That is all about load balancing, power factor corrections, demand response, smart grids, all these typical energy management applications that help you to optimize your energy usage. And the last quadrant focuses on emissions. So if you are able to reduce your energy consumption, automatically emission will also be reduced, but you can further optimize your emissions by fugitive emission prevention. This is all about leak detection and leak prevention. Greenhouse gas capturing, so storing it, for example, in old gas fields in the North Sea, or reuse it by selling it to the agriculture sector, where farmers need CO2 in their greenhouses. And of course, we also want to know if companies are using renewable energy generation. So we see more and more companies that have their own windmills, that have their own solar panels to generate renewable energy. Well, so this is the model, and this model will lead to an energy efficiency improvement and will lead to greenhouse gas emission reduction. And the gimmick in the model is that there is a logic in the model, and I already explained it. You first need to start on the bottom with asset portfolio optimization. Then, if you have the right asset, take care of the asset health. Then make sure that you can further optimize your energy consumption. And finally, optimize your emission. And what you see here is the symbol of our program, the 4 of more for sustainability. So this is this framework we're going to use in the benchmark study. So we're going to interview the 200 companies on in what degree did you implement those various best practices, and what was the impact of implementation, to understand what are the most relevant elements of the model, and how do you need to implement it in the future. We also want to know what the achievement, the sustainability achievement was since 2020, but also what the targets are for 2027 and the ambition for 2030, the magic year 2030, where we need to reduce energy efficiency, improve energy efficiency with 32.5% and reduce greenhouse gas with 55%. And we will also measure and classify all the companies by country, by sector, but also by size in terms of asset replacement value or revenue or maintenance budget, but also on maintenance KPI. So we want to measure if there is a relation, a correlation between level of preventive maintenance and sustainability performance, or age of the plant and sustainability improvement, or work order compliance, so planning compliance. And so we will do some data searching, data analysis, and try to see if there are interesting findings in all that data. This is an example of one of the questions. So each of the 17 elements will be interviewed, and we will ask them, okay, what is the status of, and this is the example of production process re-engineering. And under this best practice, there are even more, let's say, elements that we're gonna analyze, like have you done a change in product or a change in production process with the same product, or have you closed? Did you close the plant partly or totally, or did you build a new plant? What is the status in 2023, 27, 2030, and what will be the impact on greenhouse gas emission and energy consumption? So this is about the benchmark survey. So how can you benefit from it? Well, the first benefit is if you participate in the survey is that you will receive a benchmark report. A benchmark report that gives you the KPIs and the status on sustainable asset management, the 12 KPIs of maintenance and asset management, and a comparison with your performance and performance of similar companies from the same industrial sector. You will all receive the roadmap for asset management, so the more sustainability report, and you will also be invited for free to all the events that we're going to organize, and also the trainings that will be organized by the program. And I think the most important reason to participate is that you contribute to the development, I think, of the first framework on sustainable asset management. I think a lot of people, companies are talking about it, but there's no framework yet. And I think it must be great to participate on it and to help to make the world a little bit better. This is an example of the benchmark survey that you will receive. So these are the 12 KPIs that we normally use when we do improvement programs within a maintenance organization. We can also use our benchmark database that we already have on the maintenance KPIs to make sure that you really will be compared with similar companies and from the similar industry. And on top of that, the sustainability KPIs will also be part of this personal benchmark report that you will receive. How to participate? Well, very easy. Visit the website of More for Sustainability. There's an application form that you can fill in. The participation is anonymous. So we are the only one who see which company are participating. The name of the company will not be shared with others and will not be publicated or whatever. So everything is highly confidential. If you register through the application form, you will receive an email, probably somewhere next week or the week after, with an invitation and a link to the survey. So you can start filling in the survey. We're going to organize survey webinars. to really train all the participants in how to fill in the benchmark survey, how to read the definitions that we are using. And so we're really going to train everyone. We're going to help. We have a support team available for the entire project. That if you have any questions, they are available for you to fill in the report or fill in the survey. So everything is taken care of. Where can you find this survey? Well, there are different forms: a Dutch form, a French form, an English form, and German form. And if you make a picture of this QR code, then you will be automatically directed to the right form on the website. And you can go to the official More for Sustainability website, which is one of the websites of Interreg Northwestern Europe. But you can also go to the website of your maintenance association, the BEMAS, NVDO, FVI, and EMC2. And there you will also find the registration form. That is all about the benchmark and how to participate in the benchmark, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is to create capability in the maintenance community by training and by educating maintenance professionals. And this will be done in January to April 2025. We're going to do that through in-class trainings, but also we're going to develop an e-learning platform. And at the end of the program in April, we're going to hand over the entire training program to the maintenance associations, so they can continue with this program with their members. And so that's very important to know. This program will be handed over to the 4 involved maintenance associations. So this is about sustainability, and I hope that I've convinced you that it is important to work on sustainable asset management, and it's very important that you participate on this project. So if you are working for a manufacturing company, a factory owner, please connect with us and register for this study, because I think it's going to be very, very important that we help each other to learn and to apply sustainable asset management. So thank you for listening, and I'd like to hand over to Wim.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark, for your clear explanation on this More for Sustainability project. I've seen that there are a few questions, so maybe we can walk through them together here. So first question is about the process industry. So you said, okay, the participation is limited to manufacturing companies, but does that also involve process industry companies like the chemical industry?
Yeah, definitely. So if you look at the NACE codes, chemical industry is one of the NACE codes, chemical oil companies. So all companies that have factories, more or less, to simplify it. And so every company that has a factory that produces a product that can join the study.
Yeah. So and for instance, a water distribution company doesn't enter into the scope.
No. That is a discussion we had earlier, but we needed to tighten the scope. But we will, during the project, we will also look further than only this sector to see what the best practices are in the infrastructure asset management, in the fleet maintenance sector, perhaps even in the building maintenance sector. So we're going to look at other sectors as well, but the survey focuses only on manufacturing companies.
Okay, which is also a benefit for those manufacturing companies because it's focused on their own world. So talking about the benchmark and the survey, is the participation free of charge, or do you need to pay?
Well, we need to pay the participants. I think that's better, because they have to put time in it, they have to put energy in it, effort in it, And that's why we offer them the benchmark survey in return, the individual benchmark report in return. It is a high value report that is normally used in our audits. Companies pay a lot of money for it. And in this case, the participants will get this report for free.
Okay, so it's very valuable, of course. And how long do you estimate that it takes to fill in the survey? What is the idea there?
Well, if I look at our previous study that we did together with More for Core in 2014, we saw that if you have all the data available, then it's just a matter of 20 minutes. But it takes time to collect all the data. And it takes more time. So I can't really say how much time it costs. But just filling it in is 20 minutes.
Yes, and of course, filling it in is also already valuable by collecting the data, having already a broader picture on yourself is already an added value for participating, I think. Yeah. So another question here. How do you ensure the quality of the figures in the report? Because people fill in the survey. How correct will that be?
Well, we can't visit the companies and sit together and look in their IT systems to see if the data is correct. This is, but what we're going to do is what I already mentioned is organize training sessions for the survey. So we invite all the participants for those training webinars where we explain how the survey needs to be filled in, where we explain what the definitions is that we are using. Also the tips and tricks, the pitfalls, the learning points and the pitfalls to make sure upfront that the data is filled in correctly. We will also check the data, especially on the maintenance KPI with our benchmark survey. So if we see strange outliers, strange exceptional figures, we're going to go back to the company to see, hey, did you use the definition right? Because we see something strange in your data. So by doing upfront and afterwards the checks, we think we can assure the data quality.
Yes, and talking about definitions, the survey also comes with a kind of a manual.
Yeah, so we've created a manual for each individual question with the definitions in it. And again, we're going to train those definitions.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So you showed this very nice framework of the More for Sustainability asset management sustainable asset management framework. Then you had these 12 elements around that. And so within those elements, you mentioned different practices, but is it possible to suggest other practices and will they be taken into account?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so this is a new area of expertise, sustainable asset management. We are the first one with the expert panel to really think about this subject. So we should not be arrogant to think that we know everything already. We need to learn from the company. So this means that we're open for new best practices. So in each question, there's always the possibility to fill in other solutions that we have not thought about in advance. We will also do further desk research during the next year to see if we can find new best practices. So yes, if you have other solutions that you're using to either improve your energy efficiency or reduce your greenhouse gas emissions, please let us know.
Yeah, and there's room in the survey to answer those and those to
Definitely.
fill that in also. Yeah, okay, perfect. So then a final question on the benchmark. Is there somehow a relation with the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive? How do you see that?
Well, that's a good question. I had a session about the CSRD, which will be mandatory soon, 2025. The big companies need to fill in the CSRD. And I asked this company, what does it mean for you? And this guy told me that he needs to collect 1,100 data points to fill in the CSRD. We're not going to collect those 1,100 data points with this survey. I'm happy to announce that we don't need 1,100 data points. But what it's part of this 1,100 data points will be collected and are also necessary for this survey. So there is a correlation between the two, but you need to do much more to be CSRD compliant.
Yeah, so it could be a good first step.
It helps in creating the awareness and in understanding what kind of data points do you need to gather. And yeah,
and which is also important, I think, is that it also demonstrates how that also maintenance and asset management can contribute to sustainability.
Well, if you read my books, I'm all about showing the value of maintenance. In this case, I think we need to show the value of sustainability, showing that it's not a unnecessary evil, or necessary evil, but it is something that also helps the company, that can create value. And I think this framework is going to help maintenance professionals, asset management professionals to visualize that and to bring the message to the board.
Yeah. Well, talking about the message, what kind of arguments can we use to really convince them to let us participate in the benchmark study?
Well, if I was a CEO of a manufacturing company and the maintenance manager as asset manager comes to my office and tells me, hey, I have a plan how to improve energy efficiency and CO2 reduction, I think I will promote them directly. So I think that this is the moment to take initiative and to show not only the ambition, but also the plans how to improve the sustainability performance.
Yes, and that's very clear, Mark. I think with that, we have gone through all the questions. So if there are, I don't see any more questions in the chat. So by this, I would like to thank you, Mark, for this excellent explanation on the benchmark survey and on the initiatives. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And of course, we will hear and see you more when you're explaining the webinars on the survey questions and also on the results and the trainings, etc., etc. So looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Wim.
Yeah. See you later, guys, everyone. Bye.